Another thing that we can do with the transformations is we actually can do a lot of curve fitting. What we're going to basically do is you see that I have 6 different pictures here, and we're basically going to find a function that fits each picture. And so it all begins by starting what basic shape do you see, and then we identify the transformations that we see, and then we can write out the function just like we did in that, I think in the last part of the module. But in that case, I just verbally told you what the transformations here. Here we're visually seeing them. So this is how this is going to work. So in this first function, all right, when I think of my basic shapes, I'm thinking the square root of x, right? So the square root of x does something like this, right? It goes through 0, 0, goes through 1, 1, goes through 4, 2. So this pretty much has that shape. What we can see based off of this basic shape are the following transformations. First of all, it looks like it got shifted down, right? So those are shift down. It looks like 3 units. The second thing we can see is that it looks like we had a reflection right through the y-axis. So this part was reflected, and then everything got shifted down. So if we put that together, right, this basically is whatever my function is, right, minus 3, and to get a reflection through the y-axis, right, we negate our x values. So putting this all together, right, what I have is this is basically y equals the square root of negative x, right, that would be that part, and then we're going to subtract 3 from that. And so there would be the graph, what I'm seeing there. There's the function picture. Again, I can verify that. I'll come to y equals, and let me go ahead and type in our square root function, right? So oops, wrote that in wrong. All right, so there's our square root function, and then to get it to reflect through the y-axis and to shift down 3, right, we're going to have the square root of, use the right negative x, and then we're going to subtract 3 from that. Make sure that that subtraction 3 is occurring outside of the radical. So when I go graph, there's the basic shape, and then there's the one that we're trying to fit. So it does exactly what we're expecting, right? It goes down 3, and it's basically a reflection through that axis. So we nailed it. All right, so the next one, what we're looking at here looks very much like 1 over x. Again, 1 over x goes through 1, 1 and negative 1, 1, and has that action that's very similar. So it looks like, right, the origin part right here, if we kind of match it, seems to be happening right here. So it looks like what's happened to the graph is just basically been shifted to the right 2 places. And I think that's about it, because if the the origin kind of serves as where the graph is usually ripping itself apart, and then we got 1, 1 and negative 1, 1. So this point matches up with that point. This point matches up with that point. So you'll notice they basically shifted over 2 along with the origin shifting over 2. So it almost be like having our x and y axis sitting right there. So it's with a 1 over x graph shifted over to the right. So how do we get that? Well, we take whatever our function is, and we have f of x minus 2. So for our basic function, what we're looking at is y equals 1 over x minus 2. And again, if I was to graph this to verify that, it's going to be a little hard to see, but here's 1 divided by x. There's the basic shape, and down here we're taking 1 divided, use parentheses, we got x minus 2. And so when I go graph this, there's our basic function, right? And then there it is being shifted over twice, all right? So I think we've nailed it. Kind of hard to see. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit so we can kind of see that behavior right in here. So let me just move over close to 2, 0, all right? So you'll notice that looks close enough. Press enter, right? And so we definitely have, right, there's our basic function, and then here it is, right, that the origin was here, now it's been shifted over twice. So there's 2, and we can see that basic shape, right? There's what is now 3, 1, which used to be 1, 1, and then we can see that that origin is now shifted over here. So we've nailed it. We've got it down. Okay, let me change back to our standard view rectangle for the next one. Alrighty, and so let me do one more, and then we'll look at some others here shortly because I think this video is already getting a little lengthy. So what do we have here? Well, it looks like, first of all, I have the basic function x squared, right? The classic parabolic shape that goes through 0, 0, negative 1, 1, and 1, 1, right? And does this motion. So what do we notice happening? Well, this point 0, 0, right, looks like it's been shifted up 1, 2, 3. So there's a shift up 3. It looks like it's been shifted to the right 1 unit, right? Because the low point and this high point match up. So it looks like we went right 1, and then it had a reflection right through the, in this case, oops, not the y-axis, but the x-axis. And you'll notice that this shape, right, and those points kind of line up with these points there, just flipped on its head. So I don't see any vertical stretch or compression. As a matter of fact, I should have said that up here. So functionally, how do we get a shift to the shift up 3? Well, I take my function and I add 3. How do I get a shift right? I take my function and I subtract. Oops, sorry about that. We went left, all right? So we add 1. And then how do I get it to reflect through the x-axis? I negate whatever my function is. So manipulating that all for that function over here, right? We have y equals a negative, right? Parentheses x plus 1 squared, and then plus 3. All right? And so for this function, adding 1 gets the shift to go right. Negating the x squared, right, gets it to flip through the x-axis. Then adding 3 gets it to move up. And of course, we can always verify what we did. Let me go back to y equals. Let me clear that. Let me clear that. Oops, clear that. We have our squaring function, right? So x squared. And then I'm thinking the piece I'm seeing is the negative. So use the right negative. Parentheses x plus 1. And we're squaring that. And then we are adding 3. And press enter. And go to graph. And there's our basic function. And here's the one that we're currently seeing here. So it's gone up 1, 2, 3. It's gone to the left 1. It's basically reflected down. So rather than opening up, it's opening downwards. So we nailed it. So we found the function that fits that picture. All right. So how about I pause there? All right. That gives you a good start. But we're already almost 8 minutes into this, and I've got 3 more to do. So I'll do that in another video coming soon.